Hello everyone, welcome to our course How to Use VI like a Pro from Arionics. My name is Ahmed. In this course, we are going to learn how to use the VI editor in a way maybe you haven't used it before. You will learn new tips and tricks, and you will learn new techniques where you can use the VI editor to extreme. Okay, for those who don't know already, VI stands for Visual Editor. VI is used mainly in Unix environment, and when I say Unix, from here on I'll be referring to Unix, Linux, or Mac. So any Unix variants like AIX, Solaris, or HPUX, or even Linux, Red Hat, or Ubuntu, or Linux, Mint Linux, I'm referring to Unix and of course the Mac OS X. All of these systems has VI pre-installed on them by default. But this doesn't mean that Microsoft Windows cannot be used with VI, because you have a product called JVim that we will have a look at in a moment that can be used to unleash the power of VI in Windows. The VI program is used to edit files while reading them. This is in contrast to other programs like SED or EX, where they edit the files line by line. VI edits the whole file and lets you make changes to this file while you are viewing it on the screen. The moment you begin using VI, especially if you didn't use VI before, you will notice that VI uses special keys that are normal keyboard keys in order to accept its commands. For example, you might find yourself using keys like H and K and L in order to move in a document, whereas in other editors, for example like Notepad, you will be using normal arrow keys. Well, this is because VI is a very old program. It was one of the first programs to be used with computers back in the 70s. Back then, this is a sample keyboard of an ADM3A terminal. Back then, computers were not as we know them in the moment. They consists of terminals, and those terminals were connected to the mainframe, which is a very large computer called a server, and these terminals were connected to it via serial cables, and those terminals had this keyboard. As you can see, it does not contain the arrow keys. You can see that it does not have any arrow keys, just the letters, the numbers, and the symbols. It's a very simple keyboard. So VI had to use this keyboard in order to make its commands. It had to use these keys, for example, for navigation, and other keys to manipulate the document. Maybe at first you will find that it's a bit hard and counterintuitive, but the moment you master these skills, you will find that using VI to edit text is much faster than any other visual editor you might think of using. As we said, VI comes pre-installed with Unix, Linux, and Mac. And if you want to make sure that it's installed, you just go to your command prompt, like for example here. This is the command prompt, and you type VI and press enter. If you find this screen, then you are successfully using VI and it is installed on your system. If it is not, then you have to install it using one of your installer commands. For example, if you are on a Red Hat variant of Linux, you can use yum. If you're on Ubuntu, you can use apt-get. If you're on a Mac, you can use brew. And each of the operating systems will have its own installer command. What if you are working on Windows? Well, Microsoft Windows has a type of editor called JVim. It can be downloaded from this URL. And yes, let's have a look at this. Yes, this is the JVim download page. You download this PC, MS-DOS, and MS Windows. You install it, and you are ready to go. And lastly, we have Vim. Vim is a variant of the original VI. Okay, so Vim is not VI, it is a variant of VI. It contains some enhancements and some new features. We'll have a look at Vim at the end of this course. So how does VI deal with files? When we say VI is editing a file, what do we mean by this? Well, actually, we have two kinds of editors. The WYSIWYG editors. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. It lets you format the text while editing it. Like, for example, Microsoft Word. If you open a Word document and you highlight some lines of text, and then you press Ctrl+B, or for example, click on the edit, and you change the style of the font to make it bold or italics, maybe you change the color of the font to be blue or red, Okay, this is what you see is what you get, because Word is changing the document, is changing the text while you are editing it, while you are viewing it. Okay, but VI does not do this. VI is not concerned with formatting the text. It is concerned with the text itself. So you can compare it to TextEdit on Mac or Notepad on Microsoft Windows. Okay, but this does not mean that VI does not offer any formatting. It offers some sort of formatting, like for example line indentation, as we're going to see later in this course. The most important thing to remember is that when you open a VI, you are opening a buffer of the file and not the file itself. What do you mean by a buffer? A buffer is a copy of the file contents taken into memory. Okay, so while you're editing the file in the memory, you're editing the buffer of the file. Once you are finished editing the file and you want to save this file to the disk, the buffer contents get saved and the contents of the original file get replaced. So that explains how later in this course you will see how you can undo the changes you've made to a file, and you can revert back to the saved version of the file easily. It's because you are editing a file in memory and not on the disk.